Hello and welcome to this edition of Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I'm your host, John Verrigo, and once again, I bring you a very, very special guest. I know I say that all the time, but truly, um, I do mean it each and every time because if they weren't special, they wouldn't be on this show. They wouldn't be in the Cracking the Rich Code book series, and they all are just absolutely amazing. Today is no exception. You're going to love this person. She is an alignment coach, a leadership coach, best-selling author, speaker, and founder of Ready, Set, Realign. And she's going to talk to us today a little bit about her chapter and a little bit about her journey. So please welcome Kassandra Hamilton. And here you are. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, quite early for you. I'm sorry to get you up so early.
That's okay.
You know, I actually was never a morning person myself, and I joined the military with the intent of trying to train my body to get up in the morning.
That is like the best health and wellness strategy. Join the military just so you can get up.
Like, there we go. Something's got to work,
Oh,
man. I
that's
just can't. I
great.
just keep slapping the alarm. And
Oh my
yeah, 25
goodness.
years in the Navy, 42 years in government, and I still can't get up in the morning. My biorhythm just never shifted. So bless you for getting up early to come and do this with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. So, yeah.
Well, I've been waiting to actually meet you, in more detail and chat because you wrote a really interesting chapter, and I really wanted to find out a little bit more about it. So, first of all, let's tell people a little bit about you and your journey, about what you do.
Yeah, so I work a lot with women who are on the verge of burnout. And of course, they don't identify with burnout. The reason I went into this is because of my own burnout journey that I had when I was 25, I would say, somewhere around
Yesterday.
there. Yeah, yesterday. Thank you. Um, and, I have always been a high achiever, and I had this experience when I was young. I was in India with my family, and I saw health disparities that I didn't understand. Why were people walking around with leprosy or scurvy? These are preventable diseases. And so the stark difference that I saw between health conditions in India versus Canada, I came home and I was just super motivated to start bridging those gaps. So that really led me to pursue a career in medicine because I thought that was, the path. And I've always wanted to do something in the healing field or like health field. So I pursued that with a passion, and I, climbed the ladder, did what I needed to do, got to a government job in downtown Vancouver, and I had the apartment. Everything was great. And then I lost three family members, my dog, my relationship ended, and um, I had a falling out with the only couple people I knew in the city. And this all happened within 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so on the outside, everything looked amazing on paper. Social media, told a different story, obviously. And on the inside, I was just like crumbling. And one day I got home from work and I just fell on the floor and I literally, like I said out loud, I give up, like this is too much. And at that point, I recognized it was like my nervous system was just so overloaded and I didn't know what to do about it. I tried talk therapy, it wasn't working, or did, but like only to a certain extent. And I still had this like really empty feeling inside. And I was anxious all the time. And so I went through my own process of coming out of that state. And over time, over like the last 10 years, I have reflected on that and journaled about it. And ultimately, that became my first book, The Magic of Realigning from the Inside Out. Because what I recognized is there were four distinct stages that I went through. And so I thought if I could share this with other people, maybe it could help them get through this faster with support. So that's exactly why I do what I do. For a long time, I was working in a government job as well. I know you worked in government. I worked with Doctors of BC, and I was working on quality improvement in patient care. But that it was such slow work. Like we recycled language a lot, but we didn't really like make progress, you know? And so I went off on my own and became a consultant, worked with Indigenous communities across Canada for the last 10 years to bridge gaps in digital health systems because a lot of communities are remote with not
Yeah.
a lot of access to anything. So a lot of them are on paper, right? Like still documenting on paper. And you can imagine that those things get lost, fragmented, duplicated, what have you. And so my mission was to bring tools to the community in a way where it was culturally appropriate and met the documentation and health information management needs of those communities. Um, and I love that work. I love working with people to adopt new things in a way that feels appropriate and responsible for what their needs are. I love meeting people where they're at, so to speak. And so over time, I was like, okay, it's nice working in that health environment and with organizations. But I decided I wanted to work one on one with people and in groups, and specifically with the caregivers that I was seeing in my work that were burning out. So if we don't support the supporters and they're burning out, like
Yeah.
where are we going with our future of, health and wellness in our communities? So that's why I do what I do. And my biggest, thing that I think of every day, my why, is to create positive ripple effects from the inside out because a lot of us reach externally to try to pull those things in and achieve, but you don't have a sustainable way of supporting in that sense, right? And a lot of women are externally motivated. We're like, hey, like I want to be of service, but we forget to take care of ourselves. And so
Yes.
this really reframes that and starts to
Happens
look at,
with men
okay,
too, by the way.
yeah, I'm sure. I know.
I know.
Okay, I
Just
want to acknowledge that. Absolutely. Uh, I can only speak from my
maybe it's because I'm in
experience.
touch with my feminine side. My wife says.
And I do actually have a few men, like male clients, but my focus is on
Yeah.
supporting women because there's just so many more women in healthcare trying to, that is changing. But um, yeah, from my experience, I want to share with people who could resonate more with my story. But I'm open to working with men too.
I'm just talking about the whole burnout thing and relying on external, validation and all of that stuff. Um,
Hmm.
I think so many people in our society we're kind of taught to be that way.
Oh my
It
gosh,
really
yeah.
is.
Yeah, there's a lot of social pressure and also many people that are high achievers, they don't identify with the word burnout because they value the productivity and the output and all the things, right? And then we're validated by our parents, by our teachers, by society at large. So, how do you then say, okay, but like I did all the things and I'm here and I don't feel great on the so yeah, that's a really good indication that someone could come and work with me because I've been there. Hmm.
Yeah, certainly understand. We know about the pressures that are out there in society, and especially, since the advent of social media, how that has, people go and they put on their masks like you did. You even said, sure, social media reflected that everything was great, but inside, there was a whole other thing going on. Well, I'm so glad
Absolutely.
that you kind of found this path and that you're now sharing it. I think most people who wind up in coaching, it's because they have uh, seen a need out there that they need to fill, even for themselves, even if it's only reflecting their own journey, what they went through themselves, and they say, "Hey, I don't want other people to go through this." It's kind of like what I do now. The same thing. I was a bullied kid in school, and I said, "No one should ever be made to feel the way I feel. No one should ever how I was made to feel. Nobody should feel like they're less than others." And so that's how we get into what we do. And I think there's more good in the world than there is evil. We just hear about all the bad stuff on the news and all that all the time. But if you really get down to it on a human to human level, there's more people out there that are big hearted and want to help others.
Oh, definitely. And I think that when we feel safe enough to do that, like when our nervous system is safe, um, then we can let that guard down and start releasing the fear and coming back to a place of what I call alignment or fulfillment within yourself, and share from the heart space, right? Because that's our real brain.
Yeah, that's the healing journey.
Yeah.
It really is. So tell me about some of the things that have happened in your journey. Some of the things that were like wow moments and all of that. What kind of helped you move along
Yeah.
into where you are now?
So my first moment happened when I was 5, which I think I shared already with the group. But I had this recurring dream, like an actual dream, where I would hold my hands up and there'd be light going between my hands and another person without touching them, just, holding my hands up. And they would get better, or they would heal, or they would appear lighter. And I didn't understand how to translate that dream to real life mission for a long time. And then I discovered something called bioenergy healing. And during the period of time when I was going through my burnout in my 20s, I had a session that just transformed everything for me, because I am a huge advocate of like science and, like practical, like logical things in the world and counseling. And so I didn't understand why with this energy session, something just like brought me literally to like again to my knees, because I was like, what is happening? I could feel all this energy moving. And so that was an aha moment for me. And I had this moment during the session where I was like, oh my gosh, this is what happened when I was 5. Like she's doing a similar thing with me. Um, so it was full circle kind of. And then I was like, hey, I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. I really trust my intuition when those things happen. And then um, yeah, like when I got to a point where I wanted to make a change, there was an opportunity to do contract work. Um, so I've taken a bit of like twisting and turning to figure out what it is that I want to do, and I believe wholeheartedly that all the skills I've cultivated over the years like have allowed me to hold space and be this facilitator of change for other people, and I just love it so much. So I don't know if I fully answered your question, but that was the biggest moment for me, like genuinely, is when I was 5, and that vision has guided me throughout my journey. And then my moment in India too, when I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? This is so unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And how old are you when you went to India?
13.
13.
So I was impressionable.
Well, it's really amazing. I have found that in our youth, when we're kind of more open and receptive to what's going on with others, when we get older, we kind of focus on ourselves. But
Yeah.
when we're younger in these impressionable years, that's when we start to realize, kind of the unfairness in the world with uh, things like health and access and stuff like that. And there was actually a young boy in Baltimore who, at 8 years old, had traveled with his parents out west, and they visited some Native American reservations. And this kid noticed the poverty that was going on there. And when he got back to Baltimore, he started a charity to raise money to load up truckloads of food and clothing and supplies and take them out to the reservations. Just 8 years old, decided to do this and was very successful at it. And so you sit there and you go, oh my God, because how many people would have recognized, A, that there's a problem, and B, that there's something that they can do about it. And it's just an
I love
amazing.
those stories.
Yeah, I do too. I kind of try to collect those. So your story is going to be one I collect, I think. But it's that moment when we realize that we can help in some way that really helps to guide where we go from that point forward. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
we're going to fast forward a little bit. By the way, for those of you just tuning in, we are speaking with the absolutely amazing Kassandra Hamilton. She is founder of Ready Set Realign. She's a coach and a speaker and a best-selling author, and not just because of the Cracking the Rich Code book. You definitely want to check out this episode. If you're tuning in late, go back and watch this from the beginning and hear her absolutely inspiring story. And so let's move on, Cassandra. Let's talk a little bit. Let's kind of fast forward to where we are now. Tell us a little bit about what Ready Set Align is all about, and how you got to writing your chapter in Cracking the Rich Code.
Hmm. Yeah, so, as I found the inner fulfillment was matching like my outer success, and I wanted to share the process that I went through with that, I started my own business working with women, as I mentioned, who are supporting others and maybe have, some things in the way, or they're like bringing baggage from the past, or they're not good with boundaries, or there's so many things that you can look at and fine tune the energy to like get you to a place of feeling like you're in control of your life rather than being in reaction to what's happening out
Yeah.
there. And that's really the gist of what I do is getting people to a place where out there just sort of like rolls off the back because you're feeling good. But in that process, I've also really started to look at AI tools, and as most people are now, got really, fascinated with what it is and like um, who's responsible for it and where are we going with it. And I'm fascinated with words as well. So the word rich, as in cracking the rich code, to me means reach. So the root of the word rich is reach. So for me, that means contribution, impact, reach. How can we expand our work and our impact, and create that positive ripple effect?
I love that. So for
So
you, it's cracking the reach
yeah,
code.
exactly, exactly. And so it's a little bit funny because people will be like, "Well, cracking the rich code like doesn't really seem like something like you would be in." I was like, "Read the subtitles, like it's or like the sub, yeah,
What
wording
a
there
great point
because
you
I."
make, because that's what happened. I know when Jim Britt first reached out and invited me into Cracking the Rich Code, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that for you like multimillionaire investor types? That's not me. I'm not about the bottom line dollar kind of a thing, which is probably why no.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, the same thing. And then realizing that it's not about the finances, it's not about the stuff, it's about
Hmm.
the richness that we have within our lives. And I love the fact that you've
Absolutely. Yeah.
translated that to reach.
Yeah, thank you. And so the chapter is really about reframing the narrative around AI um, and the fear that is there for a lot of people for the change that's going to happen, the job transitions or losses, and instead start to look at AI as a tool for reach and impact. And I talk a little bit about, what future jobs could be looking like, and how that could reach more people to kind of make a point about it. And um, also recognizing that we don't want to just go in blindly. Like there needs to be more work done in governance and ethics of how we use it. But just like my inside out framework, we can't just rely on it externally. We have to use it as a tool for our own expansion and our own reach, and like almost like creating a clone or an assistant for our, what impact we can create in the world. And when we can start to look at it from that place, it comes back to that sort of heart centered How can I make meaningful change in the world? Um, and it's going to allow us to do that. So, can we start to flip the narrative to look at it the other way?
So how do you use AI in your work as, and I'd like to actually refer to you as a healer.
Yes, I actually I work at a clinic here once a week, um, doing sound healing and Ayurveda, head massage, and bioenergy healing. So I am really involved in my community, and I want to hold space for people to experience coming back to themselves, not just through coaching, but through these alternative ways of taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Self
Yeah.
leadership,
See,
I
so
call it. I
you're a
used to call
healer
it
in
self
multiple
care.
levels here.
Yeah,
Because even with
yeah,
your coaching, you're helping to heal people who are experiencing or on the verge of or coming back out of burnout. And so
yeah.
so that's what I'm trying to fathom how AI fits into all of that. How do you make that work?
Oh man, I use it with my reach in social media. I use it with outlines, with some like writing outlines. I mean, I use it as my assistant to brainstorm ideas about how I can use more of my work in different ways that maybe I wouldn't have thought myself. So it takes sort of a little bit of that brain work away so I can actually focus on what it is that I want to be doing, which is working with people. So I find it hugely helpful. Um, and I think that people need to embrace it more and use it as a tool for healing and health and like so many, like, and in anything really. Oh, yeah, I use it every day. I love
I'm gonna have to learn from you. So your chapter
it.
your chapter is reframing the AI story from the inside out, and that's in volume 19 of
Yes.
Cracking the Rich Code. People should be grabbing a copy of that book anyway, but definitely want to check out Cassandra's chapter about reframing the AI story from the inside out. And working from the inside out seems to be the way that that you do everything, right? With the healing, with the
Yes.
coaching, and then uh, kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Debunking myths about AI as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all about living intentionally. I always say that the power is in the pause. Like you can be in this world and live in reaction to it and blame everything else, but the moment you take a pause and decide to do something different, that's when you take your control back, and that's when you decide how you use AI, how you show up in the world, how you're leading your life, and how you can be an example to others around you. And that's how we create that positive ripple effect. It's not out there. It's not starting an NGO and working for Doctors of BC and doing all these things out there. It starts here.
I love that. I love that, and it really is. It reminds us to kind of step back and realize that no matter what life is throwing at us, we have choices, and
Yes, we
everything
do.
everything is a choice. We choose the path that we want to take. As we grow and go through life, we look at the behaviors of others around us. We choose which behaviors to emulate. We choose how we let things affect us or not affect us. Yeah, it's all choices. And it's interesting you mentioned blame. That was actually one of the things I wrote about in one of my chapters in Cracking the Rich Code, is overcoming those things that hold us back, and that being regret, guilt, judgment, and blame. So glad you brought that up.
Mm.
So Cassandra, tell us a little bit about, because we're actually getting tight on time. Tell us a little bit about Ready Set Realign and as a company and what you do and how people can get in touch with you to work with you.
Yeah, so I just want to share a really quick
Oh,
story
please.
here about what happened 2 days ago. So, as an alignment coach, I'm very like conscious of what that means when I'm doing my own work. And I've been really resistant to the sales aspect of what I do. And so as many people are,
I
but it
understand
just
that.
felt so crunchy doing, yeah, this like outreach and like kind of like this
Did
like
you say felt
pull of
crunchy?
energy.
I
Crunchy,
love it.
yeah.
It's a perfect term.
Yes, thank you. Um, and so I've been sitting with that for a while, and I had a couple, negative experiences with a sales coach, and just nothing, like everything was feeling like, yes, crunchy. So then I decided to kind of take a step back, take my own my own advice, and look at, okay, what matters here to me? Community, contribution, and connection, my three top values. And I was like, how can I create that? So I've started doing virtual events for women who can come and listen to speakers that I bring in who are women leaders, sharing top tips on energy boosting and their stories, time management, nervous system tools, things like that. So it's really a community of support. And I want to build that over time and then create like a platform for women to share their voices. And so that's, I know that through that feels so much more in alignment for me, and I know through that people who want to work with me will. So I feel very excited about that pivot that I've created in the last couple of days, or I guess last couple of days. Wow. What is time?
I know.
And yeah, but that feels just so much more in alignment. So I feel like for anyone listening, if you're really forcing something, taking a step back and just looking at things a little bit differently can really bring you back to this place of like ease. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to share that.
I'm so glad that you did. Thank you so much. And so if
Yeah, and anyone that wants to come to my virtual events, I
Mhm.
have my first one on February 10th, and I can send you the registration link. I also work one-on-one with people. I have a 12-week program that I use my four-phased approach to help someone from burnout to go come back to inner fulfillment and alignment with themselves. And I also do group coaching.
Excellent. And so people can reach you on LinkedIn. Probably the
Yeah,
best way. And then also your website.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, LinkedIn, my website. I'm all over social media too, and my books are up there too. So yeah,
Excellent. And your books are available on your website, which is
they are
readysetrealign.ca. I'm saying that out loud so
correct.
people who are only listening to this know what the link is to go and do that.
Perfect.
Cassandra, I look forward to doing some more stuff with you. I actually know a bunch of people that I think might be great liaison for you and potential speakers for your events from a couple of different, um, networking opportunities that I have, and so I'd love to connect you with some other folks. And I think that you
Beautiful.
will have a great impact on people that I can introduce you to as well. So I look forward to that.
Wonderful. That's what it's all about this year. Just collaborating and connecting and helping each other
And
rise, It's
that's what
fun.
it always should be about.
Hmm.
It
I
really
agree.
is. It really is. So everybody, we have had a lovely conversation with Cassandra Hamilton, who is man, she's all heart. I'm just going to say that right out loud. Uh, you want to read her chapter in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 19. Visit her website at Ready, Set, Realign, and you can contact her through that website. Also, you can reach out on LinkedIn and find her. Cassandra is spelt with a K, by the way, the Greek way. And so definitely check her out and pick up that copy of that book so you get it. And actually, your contact information is in the book as well.
That's right.
So, okay. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you so
joining us.
much for having
Thank
me.
you for joining us, and thank you for sharing your story and your vulnerability. And I really appreciate that. And that helps people to connect and realize who it is that is behind the chapter and all of that, and understand a little bit more about where you're coming from and how you can be so much of a help. And thank you for your heart.
Hmm. Thank you, John.
Folks, thanks again for listening in to our conversation. We have had a great discussion with Cassandra Hamilton. Check her out in Cracking the Rich Code Volume 19. Visit her website at readysetrealign.ca. Reach out on LinkedIn and all those other ways. And tune in to our next episode of Cracking the Rich Code, where we'll have another guest. Amazing in some other completely different way. Cassandra, thank you so much for joining us. You have a great day. Take care.